We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spread Zone podcast. My name is Riz. That there is Anthony Stalter. That there is our golf expert, Tim McKernan. And we are talking U.S. Open 2025 golf. It's Oakmont. It's Pennsylvania. Here we go.
This is the hardest golf course in the world, Riz. This one. That's where our nation's championship's going to be decided this week, brother.
So we're going to break it down, the 2025 U.S. Open, live from Oakmont. One of the toughest, most iconic courses in major golf. Let's talk about the weather first, if that plays into it.
Oh, you better believe it.
Weather, upper 70s, light wind, dry. Ideal for scoring, but Oakmont's notorious rough and greens will be a challenge to a lot of our competitors this weekend. Who's going to make the cut? Who's not going to make the cut? Tim, our last major was
the PGA Championship.
And how did you do, our golf expert?
I gave the players a great play. Min-Woo Lee, Riz, Anthony.
I didn't see him on the leaderboard.
Yeah,
in the top 10.
I didn't either.
Yeah,
perhaps top 20.
No, he took a flight out on Friday afternoon because he was able to go home missing the cut.
Well, this weekend he is plus 12,000.
Throw 100 on Min-Woo, be handsomely rewarded with $12,000 on Sunday at 6 p.m.
Plus 12,000 to win. So of the 156 golfers I have on my list, he's 39th. So that's
something.
That's good.
Thank you.
That's the top third.
This is a Min-Woo Lee podcast.
We're being positive about Min-Woo Lee.
Thank you.
But he is not the favorite though.
No, Scotty Scheffler.
By a lot.
Are we not? I know he's the number one golfer in the world, so maybe this is my first dumb comment of many dumb comments in the Spread Zone. But are we not talking enough about Scotty Scheffler and what he's doing?
If you are a golf nerd, which I am, you have an appreciation for his greatness because you know why he is successful. But I also recognize the vast majority of the population, not golf nerds. So then you start getting into the why and it becomes pretty boring.
Can I put this in perspective, though, for the people that are not into golf that want to just throw some money down this weekend?
Please do.
So he comes in as the biggest U.S. Open favorite in 16 years. So he's at plus 280, of course, on FanDuel. Proud sponsor of the Spread Zone. Spread Zone presented by FanDuel. Tiger level dominant, or is that? Am I overstating?
It's absolutely accurate, which is I think what you were getting to.
Yeah,
Anthony.
I mean, absolutely. I agree with that. I'm glad you said it first, quite frankly, because now I can follow suit. I think
you guys are
Tiger-like stuff here. His recent major win shows that he can certainly handle the pressure. Already 6 wins in 2025. 6. 6 wins from Scotty Scheffler, 3 wins in his last 4 starts, including the PGA Championship. Remarkable streak of top 10 finishes as well.
The reason why, to answer the question and do so briefly, kind of a Cliff Notes version, is great golfers have what would be called tight shot dispersion. So if you're aiming at a pin, you are going to be the closest one if you hit 20 shots more so than the other players, which then gives you a higher probability of making putts because you're closer. And his shot dispersion is so much greater than everybody else's. It's so much tighter. That is why he is so great. And we have not seen numbers statistically like Scheffler's since Tiger Woods, Riz.
So 3 wins in his last 4 starts. Of course, he won the PGA. So you almost have to start your card with him.
You do. You have to address whether or not you want to play him. It's almost like an insurance policy, both from a gambling standpoint for this weekend, but also if you're playing daily fantasy. Do you even put him on your rosters because you know he's going to be owned by a heavy amount of people?
What's your confidence level in betting a favorite this short in a loaded field?
It depends on how you use them. I think that's what Tim's getting at. It depends on how you use them. So if you want to do some outright winners that are more of a long shot, but then sprinkle in some prop plays included with Scotty Scheffler included, I think that's the way to go. So, for example, he's got top 10 finishes, hasn't finished worse than 10th since February. Leads the PGA Tour, tee to green, approach, bogey avoidance, all that. I think if you want to sprinkle in some prop plays with Scottie Scheffler, maybe some head-to-heads, that would be a way to kind of diversify your plays as opposed to just saying, I got to take him as an outright winner, knowing your payoff is not going to be good. So I think that's how you can hedge. I think you can sprinkle in some props.
Well, if you had okay, so Tim, if you had to fade Scheffler, who would you start your card with? So you got DeChambeau, defending champ, second in the odds. Rory, by the way, is third in the odds at plus 1,200, but he in the practice round, shot an 81.
And had to birdie the last 2 holes to get that 81. Riz.
Didn't make the cut last week.
Shot a 78 at RBC Canadian Open.
What was he saying? He was picking a new driver.
Well, his driver was tested at the PGA Championship and deemed to be illegal, which got a lot of attention. Right. As it turns out, Scottie Scheffler's also was. Scheffler had to use a different driver. He won the tournament. Rory was irritated that story was leaked because usually it's private, and it made it look like, oh, you won the Masters with an illegal driver. That's why he was irritated. Rory's story to me is, and he acknowledged this in the press briefing, that since winning the Masters, he's like, I just don't have the desire to go out there and spend 3 or 4 hours a day on working on my game. And whereas I actually mistakenly thought that winning at Augusta would free him up and then he'd just go on a tear, it's gone the opposite way.
He has not finished top 5 since the Masters.
That's it. And I thought he'd be freed up, and he just hasn't played. And I think he achieved this thing that had been torturing him, as he said, for 15 years. He got it. And now he finds that the drive that was there in April is no longer there.
But still in our FanDuel odds, he's third.
Because of the talent and his ability to hit the golf ball as far as he does. But if there is a play I love this week, Riz, it involves Rory McIlroy. And the play is the following. Rory McIlroy, missed cut, plus 300.
Whoa.
Wow.
Love the play. As a matter of fact, I've already allocated some capital on that play.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Rory McIlroy, missed cut, plus 300.
I like that a lot. Oakmont Woes struggled here in 2007 as an amateur. Again in 2016, rough and putting surfaces not his strengths, as we know. And as you kind of broke down to start the podcast here, Tim, this is one of the most difficult courses to play. I love that. I love that.
When I saw it, I had to jump on it because I thought the odds might decrease, and I have seen them moving down depending on where you're looking. We, of course, are FanDuel here, but looking at Rory McIlroy and his recent issues, Riz, he's not hitting the fairway. And when you talk about the 5-inch rough that they have, and it's of course high, relatively speaking, but it's also super dense. If you're not finding the fairway, all hell's going to break loose. You might be hitting wedges just to get back out in the fairway, which sacrifices a shot. You're going to see some big numbers, I think, this weekend. And a guy not being able to find the fairway is a guy who is right in the crosshairs of going home on a Friday flight.
All right, well, so if we're fading Scheffler to win, what about Bryson? Back-to-back wins, defending champ.
I can get on Bryson DeChambeau, defending champion, 2 U.S. Open titles, 2020, 2024. I love the power and the control to his game. Longest driver on tour. Accuracy has improved greatly in 2025. Not dominant at Oakmont, but still somebody that I think could be a major player this weekend. I like DeChambeau. I wouldn't fade him. I would definitely fade Rory.
I'm on the fading Rory, so much so that I'm betting that he'll miss the cut. I wouldn't necessarily bet that Bryson will miss the cut, but I would not pick Bryson of the bigger names that are listed if we are on the fade Scheffler train just for the purpose of the conversation.
For the purpose of the conversation.
Yeah, and the reason being on that is I think iron play is going to be the most important element of this week. And whereas Bryson, of course, is outstanding, I don't think that he is the best of our choices. This course is not super long, even though it's a U.S. Open course. Relatively speaking, it's 7,200 yards. Again, that's super long. But relatively speaking, it's not a monster. And so off the tee is more about accuracy this week than it is about distance. So I think this is about ball strikers, which is a way to say the people who have strength with their approaches and their irons. And therefore, I would go a different direction than Bryson.
Okay, so NBC is predicting the winner to be under par, but barely. That's what NBC is predicting. Will a hot putter like somebody like Justin Thomas, who's ranked first in putting average, does this play into his game?
It certainly could. He was in form earlier in the year, and then he won at Hilton Head, and he's fallen off since winning the RBC Heritage. Certainly somebody who is able to get up and down, which would be what Dustin Johnson was able to do when he won in 2016 here. That is going to be incredibly important. So that means getting up and down and chipping and hitting that putt. That's critical. I would actually lean more toward a player who has great ball striking and just a wizard with their irons. And so if I were pivoting off of Scheffler, I would go the Colin Morikawa route.
Yeah, that's who my value pick is.
Yeah, if I were going off of Scheffler, I would go to Morikawa.
Let's go value picks. So Morikawa for me too, at plus 2,500 on FanDuel. Not a long shot, but just a value pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're looking at the top, let's say 6-7 names, and you're not going Scheffler, that's where I come up with the Morikawa to answer.
Morikawa, as you said, elite ball striker.
Unbelievable.
Trending in the majors, great U.S. Open track record. Anthony?
If we're going to go the ball striking route, Keegan Bradley is another one.
Captain Keegan, the Ryder Cup champion.
Strong ball striking.
Plus 8,000. That would be a hell of a play if that thing hit. That'd be a hell of a story, too, because then he'd have to put himself on the Ryder Cup.
So the value picks, if we're talking value picks, I like Keegan Bradley. Now, you brought up putters. I think Harris English is interesting.
Harris English is interesting. He has never missed a cut at the U.S. Open.
And he is somebody that's got his putter's a weapon.
Plus 9,000.
Yes.
FanDuel has him at.
So if we're talking about like really deep sleepers, Keegan Bradley, Harris English, and Harris English rebounded nicely off. He was banged up in 2023, had a nice season in 2024. He's in current hot form. I think that Harris English is kind of an interesting play.
There is some Harris English buzz out there this week. That's interesting, and he won at Torrey Pines earlier in the year.
I'll give you another long shot as Tommy Fleetwood.
Tommy
Fleetwood.
Tommy Fleet has never won in the United States. And obviously, therefore, I shouldn't say obviously, he hasn't won the Open either, so he has not won a major. And Tommy Fleetwood is the guy who, for whatever reason, Riz, and I don't know what it is, it's a great compliment to him. When it is a tough golf course, for whatever reason, he tends to excel. And
I have him as always showing up in tough conditions.
It's an accurate thing.
Pretty good major record as well. So Tommy Fleetwood on FanDuel plus 4,000 is so Morikawa for my value pick, Tommy Fleetwood for my long shot.
I think that this tournament with the conditions sets up for a wide possibility of outcomes. And the reason being the following. If you are going to focus on iron play, there's nobody better in the world than Scotty Scheffler. So therefore, Scheffler is at the forefront of any conversation we're talking about this week. However, because the forecast is for no rain, and the rough is such a big factor, and the course is firm, they have the greens running at 14.5, which is essentially like putting on concrete, that the course will firm up. It will not be soft. There's talk of scores being the winning score. I was watching this last night. Paul McGinley, a former Ryder Cup champion for Europe, was saying we could see +8 winning the tournament, not making the cut, winning the tournament. And so the reason why I bring that up as far as the outcome and then the gambling element of it for the purpose of the FanDuel spread zone is this. If Scotty Scheffler is on, but it's so firm it runs into a bunker, it runs into the rough, which then changes the outcome, you could see a random emerge. Whereas I don't think you could see that at Augusta,
where luck could make a ball bounce a certain way.
That's exactly right. So I could see this being a Scheffler runaway because of his ability with irons and his form. But if you wanted to sprinkle on some long shots, this could be the week to do it, where you see somebody at the leaderboard and you go, who in the world is that? And they just get the right bounces in some really uniquely challenging conditions.
So it's funny because NBC has it as par just under. It's funny looking at these network models like CBS, their model has Justin Thomas winning.
How about that?
I don't think Justin Thomas makes the cut.
How about that?
I'm sorry. Nope. I was thinking Dustin Johnson.
So Justin Thomas at plus 4,000, 6 top 10s in the last 13 starts, number 1 putting average, just won at the RBC Heritage. Is this a value nobody's talking about?
I think he's flying under the radar for golf nerds because he hasn't played great as of late. But that's the thing about this tournament. Somebody who has skill, who's kind of flying under the radar, could be where you can. I'm going even deeper down the board. I mean, you went with Captain Keegan, Anthony, at plus 8,000. I think you could sprinkle some real long shots, and with these kinds of conditions, see somebody really emerge. I think if memory serves, they've had 10 U.S. Opens at Oakmont. That's the most of any course in the United States. And only one time the number 1 player has won it. And the reason being, it's such a difficult golf course, you can have some variance lend itself to unique outcomes.
NBC sleeper is Sam Burns.
Sam Burns.
Plus 8,000.
Should have won this past weekend, but missed a 5-footer in a playoff with Ryan Fox.
Top 20 machine, elite putter.
And is in form.
A live long shot.
That's a nice play.
I could see Sam Burns.
That's a nice play.
He's a bit streaky too. So if you catch a hot streak, I mean, when hot, you're talking about 2 eagles, 21 birdies in his last 2 starts, a long off the tee, solid approach. I wrote down Sam Burns as well in my like kind of deep value plays.
Yeah, plus 7,500.
Let's talk some prop bets before we hit the first break. So some prop bets I wrote down. Okay, so winning score, over, under par, over?
Over par all day long. And I want to fire a lot of capital on that if I can. I love that play. I love that play so much it scares me. It scares me because I'm like, then it means it's not going to happen. I'm going to lose a lot of money just for the purpose of clarification.
Tim has talked me into it. I'm a big believer in Tim.
Oh my gosh. Despite the Min Woo Lee situation as it's now known.
You know what? This is going to be a major rebound weekend for Tim. I feel it. So I like it. Let's give me.
I am going to follow the NBC model.
In just under.
And go under.
Kind of a Tiger Torrey Pine.
I'm going to go under. All right. Top 10 finish. Ludwig Ahlberg at plus 240.
I like, if we're just doing some props that we're throwing out there, Scheffler to finish round 1 in the top 10. I'm seeing plus odds on that.
Really?
Yes.
What do you got on that? That's an intriguing little wager you just presented here.
Yeah,
Anthony.
Scheffler to finish round 1, top 10, plus 150.
Wow. Color me intrigued.
Always strong, major performer. He starts fast. He finishes in the top 10. You're talking plus odds.
Okay.
Color me intrigued.
Another prop bet. Phil Mickelson makes the cut at plus 200. Could be his last U.S. Open is what he's saying.
Yeah, he's not. He's going to have to qualify next year. I mean, that's the weird thing about this event is you'll see some big-time players having to play Monday qualifier events, regional, and then to get into the U.S. Open. That's where Mickelson will be.
So Phil Mickelson to make the cut at plus 200.
I like that. And the reason being short game's value here. And Mickelson is just, sick inside of 50 yards.
What do you think about top American, Scheffler versus the field?
I'd be showing my cards here for the purpose of who I think is going to win, which I guess probably isn't a big surprise. I would not touch it because I would be on Scotty Scheffler.
Same. Yeah, I don't. That's a tough one to roll with. I just think there's better value on the board, including Scheffler finishing in the top 5. It's minus 140.
Any other props you want to talk about?
Yeah, Shane Lowry at plus 280, Riz, to be a top 10. I like that. He has played well, and he is also number 1 strokes gained around the green. And I think that is going to be a valuable statistic. Up and down, as I said, Dustin Johnson was number 1 in 2016. The last time the U.S. Open was at Oakmont. I think Lowry's at 76% right now, and that is tops. And so that would mean I think he is going to be competitive. I don't know if he can edge out and win the thing, but plus 280 for Lowry, top 10.
I mentioned one earlier, but fade Dustin Johnson.
What kind of numbers are you getting on DJ there?
I think he misses the cut. I actually didn't write that down. But for me, recent major form, I mean, this guy's been cratering.
Okay.
So I would say Dustin Johnson missed the cut. I can look at the odds in our break.
All right, let's take a break right here. It's Spread Zone presented by FanDuel. We'll come back. We'll talk biggest questions, trends, and live betting. We're talking 2025 U.S. Open. Spread Zone presented by FanDuel. We'll be back. All right, welcome back to the Spread Zone. It's 2025 U.S. Open Golf. Of course, we are presented by our friends over at FanDuel. So let's talk some compelling questions. Fellas, Scheffler or the field? If you could bet one, where is your money?
And if memory serves, we're having to pay about $400. I mean, what are we doing? Is the Scheffler versus the field payoff? I mean, that's my question.
So if you take the field, it's minus. You're laying 400.
That's the last number that I saw.
Then to me, based on that, you take Scheffler.
It sucks for the purpose of a podcast, but at the same time, it goes to what you guys were presenting. We are in the midst of a Tiger Woods-like player who doesn't
smart
have...
is smart.
Yeah, I listen, I'll Min Woo Lee all day if I'm feeling Min Woo Lee, but I can't do it this week. I think it was the last Masters, or maybe it was two Masters ago on our show, TMA, we were asked, somebody brought up, and I go, it's going to be Scotty Scheffler. And they go, why are you? I said, it's the last time we've seen anything like Tiger Woods. And this was, I think, 2 years ago. It wasn't this year. And they go, why? And then I got into the shot dispersion thing. But again, it's like, if you're an auto racing fan, you can start breaking things down. It's not what I follow, so I wouldn't know it. But following golf, playing the game, if I'm playing against somebody who I know is going to be within 15 yards of a circle of the pin 9 out of 10 times, that's the guy. And Scheffler's even better than that. And that's why even his fellow players, guys who are at his similar level, are in awe of him. And when you have a course that demands iron play, it's Scotty Scheffler, and I can't walk away from it. I'm just going to appreciate it.
I mean, honestly, with plus 280 odds, is there any reason to bet against him, or is it time to just accept that chalk walks on tough courses?
I'm on Scheffler, and even with those odds, as you noted, that are the shortest odds we've seen in 16 years. Mm-hmm. I still am on it, and I've been trying to talk myself into. There are a couple others I like, and will sprinkle, as you made reference to, Anthony. But I just think that this guy is otherworldly, and unlike Rory McIlroy, who, to his credit, is acknowledging his motivation has decreased since winning the Masters. Scheffler has that Tiger-like, Jordan-like, Tom Brady-like, Albert Pujols-like, never satisfied quest for greatness, and that's what usually leads to dominance, and that's what we're seeing.
I think too we have to compartmentalize things. I'm not going to have Scheffler winning it based on the value that you're getting.
No,
for
absolutely
the
not. It's terrible value.
So I'm not going to suggest him to win, but for the purposes of the question that Riz you just posed, if you're laying minus 4,000 or whatever it is for the field versus Scheffler, that's when you take Scheffler with the plus odds. So again, we kind of have to break down now. It used to be, it's just a winner, just post who's going to win the thing. But with so many odds available at FanDuel, the prop odds, the different plays, you can go back to, I'll use the same kind of, the cliched word of diversifying, but you can diversify your plays over the course of 4 days.
Can somebody go wire to wire here at Oakmont, or is this a come from behind event?
No way.
I don't think so. I think a very good chance that you will see a name that you don't recognize leading. And then this is a phrase that Mike Tirico uses, and you will hear him on the calls of majors, the gravity of the major championship, the gravity of the leaderboard. Somebody who didn't expect to be there sleeps on that lead on Thursday night and wakes up and realizes they don't belong, and then they fold up like a cheap tent.
Happened in the PGA Championship.
That's exactly right.
I guess this course is known for Sunday carnage.
Sure. You better believe it.
So does a slow starter offer live value in round?
If somehow Scheffler is like 5 over par and some rando is -3, and then winds up shooting 80 the next day, you better believe I will be allocating some dollars on Scotty Scheffler as a live bet.
Yeah, if the weather, I'm talking some live betting angles.
Sure.
So
this is a material question for the purpose of live betting, the direction you're going with.
If weather softens the course, as maybe NBC is hinting at, Look for guys who can go low in round 2 or 3. Burn a unit maybe on comeback types. So this is exciting this weekend.
Oh, I love it. Well, the weather is supposed to be dry going into the weekend, and that's where you possibly get some rain. If not, this thing really could get to a point where you see a big plus number winning it. As far as a comeback type on that, Riz, a guy that I would think that would be live would be the guy we brought up a little earlier, and that's Tommy Fleetwood. We've seen him go low. He did so, shooting a 63 at Erin Hills, a year Brooks Koepka won 7 years ago. Didn't win the tournament, but shot a 63 there, kind of outside of the spotlight. So keep an eye on Tommy.
Or maybe
Fleetwood.
what about Sammy Burns?
Sam Burns is a play that I enjoy being discussed, and he's plus 430 for a top 10. So if you're liking Sam Burns, but you're like, it's going to be Scheffler's year, Sam Burns, Scheffler's best friend at plus 430 provides some value.
Anthony?
I like Burns. I threw out a couple earlier with Keegan Bradley and with Harris English. Harris English is the one I keep coming back to, especially when it comes to like DFS purposes, head-to-head prop plays. Harris English is one I keep coming back to because of his putting ability. I mean, I could throw out another name. What about John Rahm? Somebody that you were excited about. He's not really a value. I mean, I think he's plus 1,200.
Right, he's the third. Yeah, he's plus 1,200 to win.
So this wouldn't fall into the value category. So maybe let me give you somebody else here. What about Corey Connors?
Great ball striker. One of those beautiful tempo swings you see on tour. I know for the Canadian players, they really live for last week at the RBC Canadian Open. Didn't have a great tournament. He would be, if you're looking for a guy who is off the radar, and I mean, the golfers know about him, but he's not a mainstream name. Corey Connors would be one with that ball striking ability. By the way, I misspoke on Fleetwood. That was at Shinnecock in 2018 where he shot the 63. But that speaks to his ability to go low and come back on the weekends.
I'll give you one more. Ben Griffin. Career best season, strong riser.
Been playing really well.
Yeah, I mean, this is his breakout year. I mean, he'd have to have a career weekend, but, gain status, multiple top 10 finishes. We're talking about one of the hottest iron players on the tour since April.
Yeah, he was in the final pairing with Scheffler 2 weeks ago at the Memorial.
There you go.
All right, fellas, let's take one final break. We'll come back. We'll do some quick hit bets. We'll recap the storylines and our final thoughts. It's the Spread Zone presented by FanDuel 2025 U.S. Open Edition. All right, Spread Zone presented by FanDuel, talking 2025 U.S. Open golf. All right, some quick hit bets. First round leader, who? Who we got?
A random. That's who I think. I think it'll be a random.
I need a name.
Oh, jeez.
Ben Griffin.
Ben Griffin.
Ben Griffin is going to lead.
I'm going to scroll down. I'll go with Ben James.
I'm going to go with John Rahm leads us out of round 1.
That'd be intriguing if that were to happen. He's got himself a U.S. Open. Yeah, it could happen.
Will there be a hole-in-one?
No.
Got the old 298-yard par 3 that players will be hitting driver into, depending on the wind. I'm going to say no, too. I would bet no on that. These greens are so sloped, and the pin positions they'll have them in, I think that's going to be a no, Riz.
Highest finishing lefty.
Oh, man. You got to go with Phil, right?
Is that because of
Phil, huh?
of left?
Or is that the only one you know of?
I mean, Phil Mickelson,
golfers.
Bubba Watson's lefty.
Yeah, I don't know.
Random Mike Weir.
Yeah, Mike Weir somehow made his way into the field.
Yeah.
All right, Phil Mickelson, it is. All right, now this is a legit question. Cut line, over or under plus 4.5?
I got to go over.
Ship the over. Mm-hmm. I mean, ship the over.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm so confused by the number. This happens in college football for me sometimes, and it tends to be right, which is great. But I mean, like I said, I'm still experiencing the PTSD from the Minwoo Lee play, and I don't trust myself anymore.
So ship the over.
I love the over.
Yeah.
I think the winning score might be over 4.5, much less the cut line.
Okay, so storylines, first round leader, an elite ball striker, they'll probably jump out. Or will putting decide it early? What do you think?
Certainly, you got to be able to roll it, and whoever has that kind of success, we saw Jason Day get to number 1 in the world in 2016. All due respect to Jason Day, he doesn't usually fit the prototype of number ones, but he was able to roll it in 2016. So yeah, you got to be able to have that success. The reason why Scheffler has emerged here over the last couple of years is because he wasn't a great putter. He switched putters, and now I think he's top 25 stroke gain putting. But I think that's certainly key. But these greens are absolute chaos, and the USGA will put pins in deviant places.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe the hole-in-one prop will be a fun. Oakmont's tricky par threes, and maybe a little fun little sprinkle. I don't know.
There you go. I like how we're terming these sprinkles.
Yeah,
like a little small,
just a little something.
It's a little taste, just a small taste.
Yep.
Small taste. Yep.
Here's what I'm seeing on the highest finishing lefty. Going back to that, Mickelson versus Brian Harman.
Brian Harman, our Open champion from 2 years ago, the happy little hunter.
Could be closer than you think.
And he's played well at U.S. Opens.
The cut line prop set at 4.5. NBC, CBS both expect Oakmont to play tough, so I guess the over's in play for us.
I love the over.
Anthony, I need your final thoughts. Your final thoughts on the 2025 U.S. Open.
So I'll give you my winner.
I can't wait to hear this because I think you're diversifying.
You guys mentioned somebody, and I just stayed quiet. You both like this gentleman, and I almost, but I saved it. Colin Morikawa. Wins.
All right.
Wins the U.S.
I respect the play.
Second in driving accuracy, third in birdie average, sixth in strokes gained, approached eighth. Greens mastery for him, top 5 putter in terms of average. Give me Colin Morikawa to win the U.S. Open this weekend.
I do have to tell you, I like that play.
Thank you, sir.
I like that play. I hope I'm not dooming it.
Tim?
This is off-brand, but I have to be honest with the audience, and I really did think Missouri was going to win the national championship, and I really did think Justin Thomas was going to win the Masters, and I really did think Min Woo Lee's time had arrived at the PGA Championship. But it's Scotty Scheffler's time, and so I'm going with him. Now, with that said, sprinkling being our theme today, Riz, I like your Morikawa play. I truly do. If I were sprinkling, I would go Tommy Fleetwood at plus 4,000 and Shane Lowry at plus 4,000. And if you wanted to go down and get into a 5-figure payoff, I would go Maverick McNeely and Aaron Rye. But my play is Scheffler. And if you wanted to go deep into a Monday qualifier, somebody who nearly won this past weekend as well, and he is in form, has not been able to win on tour, kind of like Fleetwood, Cameron Young, plus 12,000.
All right, so my winner, Scheffler. My value pick is Morikawa at plus 2,500. My long shot is Tommy Fleetwood.
Nice, plus 4,000.
And my top 10 prop is Ludwig Ahlberg.
Yeah. That guy's got it all, man.
And my sprinkle in is Phil Mickelson to make the cut at plus 200.
I like that play. I do like that play. Yeah, I think we're going to see carnage, and if you can find it to bet overs on cut lines and missed cuts and scores, I think that's what we're going to see, as long as it does not rain. This thing is going to be fast and firm, and carnage will ensue.
The Sunday carnage.
Let's get a win, fellas.
Let's do it.
I think it's time, in particular, for one chair. That is
big golf expert.
I mean, you guys got Rory McIlroy. You hit on that.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
And journalism.
Yeah, coming off of last week.
That's right.
The Belmont, we did not take the Kentucky Derby winner.
That's fine.
I had Beza. He finished third.
Third, though. I noticed that.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Listen, that's it. We put it out there. May the odds be in your favor. That's a Spread Zone presented by FanDuel. We'll see you next week.
We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.